Ask any successful YouTuber why their content works and you'll get the same answers. Thumbnails, consistency, understanding the algorithm. But to truly succeed in this game, we need to go deeper. This video will show you how to sustain a YouTube business that thrives without compromising your mental well-being. And you won't see the ideas later in this video anywhere else. Now, I've been in this arena for 2 decades. I've built channels to 500,000 subscribers, generated hundreds of millions of views, I've run print magazines, and I've watched so many creators rise and fall. And those surface level answers, they're not wrong, but they're missing something massive. It's like asking a world-class athlete why they're so good at what they do. They'll talk about training schedules and technique and dedication, but the real differentiators, the unconscious patterns that separate legends from everyone else, quite often they have no clue. Now, through my own experiences in the trenches of content creation, I've developed 6 psychological laws that drive every piece of viral content on this platform. Laws that explain why some creators build empires, while others with maybe better production or more consistency disappear without a trace. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why certain content stops you mid-scroll while others die unwatched. And you'll see the hidden patterns behind every creator who's ever made you feel something real. And you'll have a complete framework for building a content business that connects with people at a level most creators never reach. Like my client Tim inside my paid engagement, who's grown from 20k to over 90k subscribers and more than 5x'd his revenue just by applying these ideas. Now, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please check out the link in the description and you can book in a call. The wild part is so many of the creators who are absolutely massive, they're actually following the laws that I'm going to speak about, but they might not even know it, like the world-class athletes. When you hear a lot of their advice, it comes from something completely different. But today I'm going to show you what's actually going on. 6 C's that separate successful content businesses from everyone else. And before you ask, no, consistency isn't one of them. That is assumed in any real business. First C, curiosity. Without this, you might as well not bother. Every piece of content that has ever stopped you in your tracks began here. Every video that made you pause mid-scroll, every headline that grabbed you by the throat, every story that pulled you in despite yourself, all of it, every single piece, works on one fundamental truth. Without curiosity, your content dies in the digital graveyard where millions of hours of unwatched, unread, unloved work goes to rest. Ones and zeros returning to ones and zeros. But provoke the right curiosity in the right people. One video, one article, one moment can change everything. I've seen it happen and I've lived it. And let's be honest, this is what most YouTube growth advisors teach, and they teach it very well. But this is just the base of the pyramid. Still, let's get curious. Sounds a bit weird. Finding your angle, or how I accidentally built an empire. Most creators dive into saturated markets and wonder why they drown. Fitness, gaming, they enter these spaces and try and outshout the noise with more noise. But saturation isn't the enemy. Saturation is proof of life, proof that people care enough to consume. So what you need isn't a new market, you need a new angle. A fresh way of looking at something people already love. Now let me tell you how I learned this. How a moment of pure curiosity changed my life. It's December 2017, I'm thumbing through YouTube looking for something to watch while I do the dishes on one of those strange liminal days between Christmas and New Year. I stumble across Lost in Vegas. 2 hip-hop heads filming their journey into metal and rock. Instant curiosity. What will these rap fans think when they hear Metallica for the first time? That curiosity led me down a rabbit hole of their content and some other similar creators. And hours later, I'm thinking, what about the reverse? Metalheads discovering hip-hop. And suddenly I'm buzzing with possibility. Rock Reacts, my first channel that went viral, was born in that moment. Metalhead reaction to hip-hop as an angle in the title. It's not subtle, but when you're battling for 0.1 seconds of someone's attention on the homepage, subtlety isn't a luxury you can afford. Our first video with that title, reacting to the artist Logic, pulled 4,000 views overnight. Now for a brand new channel, that's pretty much unheard of. Comments poured in, subscribers followed, and suggestions multiplied. 4 months later, 100,000 subscribers, millions of views. By the middle of 2018, Rock Reacts were the most viral new channel in the UK alongside one other, Nicole Milana. And it's because we found an angle that provoked curiosity and built the base of our pyramid. But there's 2 faces to this curiosity, and here's where it gets deeper. And if you only tend to one, you'll lose your soul in the process. I'm serious here. Now there's audience curiosity, what we've been talking about, the hook, the angle. The thing that makes people stop and look. You hear about this everywhere, and it's true. But there's also personal curiosity, the flame that brought you to life in the first place, brought you here in the first place. The reason you wanted to share your thoughts with strangers on the internet, your curiosity about your subject, about life and about the world. You lose that and you fall into what I call the beast trap. You start chasing bigger, more outrageous angles to top your last success. You become a slave to the algorithm, to the mythical idea of the audience, to the endless hunger for more, and it is the fastest way to burn out. I've watched creators with millions of followers trap themselves in golden cages, hating the content they feel locked into making. They've outgrown their work, but they can't see a way out without losing everything they've built. But here's the truth they're missing. Your audience will grow with you if you let them in, if you trust them, if you remember that they didn't fall in love with just your content, they fell in love with you, realistically. And when those feelings creep in, the jadedness, the resentment, the sense that you're just going through the motions, you don't push through in that moment. Don't grind it out. Stop. Breathe. Remember what you still love about this work, and then travel from there. Creating content from obligation breeds resentment. And while that resentment might seem like it's towards your audience, in reality, it's for yourself. For abandoning yourself. For being disingenuous to the people who trust you with their time and attention. And lying, especially to ourselves, literally weakens the body and heavily taxes the nervous system. So the path forward isn't more content, it isn't more strategy, it isn't more tactics. It's to reconnect with our own curiosity and then tap into that to reconnect with the audience. Curiosity then, the base of our pyramid. Without it, you might as well not bother, but it is not the only thing. You sparked curiosity and they clicked, or they stopped. Now what? Now this is where dreams go to die. This is where most nascent creators stumble and fall. They hook people in, but they can't deliver when it matters the most. So when I say confidence, you're probably thinking, okay, you need to be like gregarious and natural on camera. And yeah, absolutely, that's true. But I'm going to flip this one. Now, of course, you need confidence in yourself, right? But before that, you need to create confidence in your audience. Confidence that they have made a smart choice by clicking on or stopping on your content. Confidence that they haven't been hoodwinked or clickbaited. Confidence that their time and attention isn't about to be compromised. These are subconscious feelings though, but they're born out of truth. The game of grifting is big on the internet these days. It may garner attention, but unless you're sociopathic, it will eat at your soul and it will draw in the wrong type of people. So be confident that you have true value in your very essence. Your content comes from the heart, and that will translate to the audience. And then as a byproduct of that, it will translate to growth, views, and finances. But then yes, before we move on, we do need to have some presence and a resonant tone on camera. Confidence doesn't mean arrogance or bravado. It doesn't even mean being ridiculously over-genetic and hyped up on camera, although if that's your personality, then do that, of course. It just means being comfortable in your own skin. It means owning your space. It means speaking with conviction. If you seem nervous, or particularly if you're closed off, people won't stick around. Or if you're faking that confidence, you might be able to grow externally with numbers and even finances, but you will not be growing on the inside. Burnout town. Think back to Lost in Vegas, the channel that changed my trajectory, right? They won the curiosity battle with me and made me click, but then they had to prove themselves to me as an audience member. But they showed up with unshakable confidence. They weren't trying to be experts. They weren't pretending to know more than they did, but they owned their space completely. They belonged in that moment, right? Talking about that music, but sharing their own experience from the past and their experience in the moment. Now, if you're newer, this might take practice, 10 posts, 100 posts, but it's essential. People can smell that insecurity through the screen. They run from it. And if you're established and already in the game, then don't compromise. Another C? I'm a genius, really. On your own growth in this field. Study speaking and body language. In fact, focus on the final C in this video. But we'll get there in good time, right? Listen, when somebody shows up fully themselves, when their confidence comes from a deep place of self-acceptance, that is magnetic. Competence, knowing something worth sharing. Competence doesn't mean knowing everything. It means knowing something worth sharing and being able to share it well. Here's what's beautiful about this. Being able to willingly learn in public, to show authentic humility and curiosity can be more compelling than fake expertise. People can smell pretense from miles away. Lost in Vegas didn't need to be metal experts to create compelling content, and I didn't need to be an expert in hip-hop to create a compelling journey. But they knew music, and we at Rock Reacts knew music. They could articulate their experience, their emotions, their journey, and I believe these are the things that have connected me with so many people over the years. They spoke from knowledge and humility combined. The internet is full of people pretending to know more than they do. What's rare is someone who knows what they know, admits what they don't know, and shares both with genuine enthusiasm. Your competence might be your profession, your hobby, your life experience, your perspective. It doesn't matter what it is. It matters that it's real. It matters that it's earned and that it's yours and that you can communicate it clearly. And this also translates into your production, by the way. While beginners need to focus on eschewing, I like that word, it's a quality word, perfectionism, they just need to get out there and make videos. Established channels, established creators, people who are already in the game can elevate themselves cleanly by demonstrating competence in their production as well as themselves. Now that may mean hiring an editor, hi Joe, contracting thumbnail designers, investing in coaching, and truly understanding and treating this like a business. I've personally invested over $100,000 into myself and my channel over the last 5 years. And I know that's shown up in the competence that my videos display in terms of production and in terms of the work that I've done to make them as good as they possibly can be. Okay, the next C. This is where we start to get really interesting. Congruence. The hardest to define and the one that's impossible to fake. Now here's where things start getting really interesting. Here's where the psychology really starts to get into play. Congruence. Congruence is the alignment between who you are and what you're presenting. And when this is off, when you see a creator desperately trying to be something they're not, you can almost feel their discomfort through the screen. And in fact, if you go and watch my really old videos when I was doing gaming, before music, a long time ago when I was learning the craft, you could see this straight away. Despite my competence, I'd been a games journalist for over 10 years and a consultant, but I didn't have the congruence in being able to display that on camera. But if you really want to see a real example of it, think about those guys in their 30s still making content for 12-year-olds. See the pain behind their eyes. We're hardwired as human beings to detect inauthenticity. It's a survival mechanism, right? Think about it. When someone comes into your space in real life and they seem a bit off, it's really uncomfortable, and with good reason. Detecting inauthenticity and true intention has separated the tribes and societies that survived and those that didn't. Now that's a bit extreme when we're talking about YouTube challenge videos or music reactions, but it's the principle that counts. When something feels off about someone's motives, even when we can't name it, we run. But congruence? When someone shows up as exactly who they are, when their energy matches their message, when everything about them feels aligned, that's when real connection becomes possible. Lost in Vegas has this in spades. Everything about them feels real. It feels aligned. It feels authentic. There's no masks. There's no pretense. Just two people sharing a genuine experience. And listen, they made me laugh. Never underestimate this. This is the easiest tip of all. Make someone laugh once and you have a friend for life. So confidence, competence, and congruence, they are the middle section of our pyramid. They're vital. They hold the top and the bottom together. But there's one section at the top, and I'll hold my hands like Andrew Tate to show it, that defines everything. And this is connection. This is it. This is where all of those tactical growth hack articles and videos fall apart. This is where the real work begins. This is where the magic actually lives. Every creator you love, every performer who's moved you, every writer who's touched your soul, they all understand, subconsciously probably, but they all understand one fundamental truth. Connection is everything. Not thumbnails, not posting schedules, not title optimization, connection. We are creatures built for connection. It is who we are. It is what we need. It is why we seek out stories and songs and shared experiences. The greatest creators don't just make content. They build bridges between hearts. So how do we do this? Finding your frequency. Here's something I want you to try. Think of one creator who really speaks to you. Someone whose work makes you feel something deep and true. Now forget the tactics for a moment. Get out of our logical brains for a moment. Forget their thumbnails and their titles and their posting strategy. Just drop into your body. Really, into your body. Remember a specific moment from their work, a video, a post, a line that hit you. Where can you feel that in your body? Just feel into it. Now can you name that feeling? Maybe they make you laugh. Maybe they inspire you. Maybe they make you feel seen. Whatever that feeling is, the one that you search for most in the content you consume, that is your frequency. And that's the feeling you most likely want to create in others. That's where your magic lives. When I watch those tactical growth videos, I always leave feeling the same way. Not enough. Not that the videos themselves are not enough. They're packed with solid value most of the time. And as I said in the intro, nothing they advise is wrong. But when everything is tactical and strategy and logic based purely, it makes me feel like I'm not doing enough, which translates to I am not enough. I don't want to feel like that. And I definitely don't want my audience to feel like that. So let's dive into exactly how to create that connection with our audience. Are you ready? Let's go. Now, connection happens through 3 channels: expression, openness, and story. Expression means letting your full self be seen. Not every private detail of your life or anything like that, but your authentic energy, your real personality, your genuine perspective on the world. No masks, no personas, just you. Now listen, you can create fake expression and cultivate fake connection. It is rife on the internet, it is rife on YouTube, it is rife in streaming, it is rife on Instagram. It is. And also it's rife in real life, bars. And I'm not just talking about grifters or manipulators. In order to fit in, people adopt personas. They agree with arguments and ideas they don't truly believe in, and they hold themselves small so as to not take up space. And I was like this for many years. Through school, I was desperate to fit in, and I compromised who I was. And it did not work at all because I was bullied relentlessly for years, and it became a vicious circle. The more I resisted, the worse it got. And it took me until my 20s, but honestly, truly into my 30s and being a parent, to truly see and live in my true value. So on YouTube, we can try and fit in to gain an audience, and it might work, truly it might. But we don't want to fall into the incongruence trap. We don't want to end up audience captured and resentful. Audience capture, if you don't know the term, is when you're making content for what you think the audience is demanding from you that doesn't come from your heart, and you're doing it over and over and over again. And then there's a huge disconnect between what you think works and may actually work on your channel and who you are and what you want to do. It is a really unique situation that is specific to content creation, and it's really, really uncomfortable, and it causes a lot of mental issues. We don't want to be there. We don't want to abandon ourselves. Live in true expression, and you'll connect with others who find that utterly magnetic. And do you know what? It may even help them do the same thing in life, and then in the content they may choose to create. And that nicely brings me on to openness. Openness means inviting people in. And based on my story before about what happened to me in school, this was difficult for me. But making the audience feel like friends, not strangers or a number. Creating space for them in your world, speaking to them like they're sitting across from you at your kitchen table or down the pub or however you want that dynamic to feel. And it's the natural extension of expression, right? Now, what's the best way to do these 2 things? Story. Story means giving shape to experience, using the rhythms of narrative, of problem and tension, resolution, learning, to make sense of what you've lived and what you've learned. Imagine watching someone with closed off body language, speaking in monotone, just listing facts. Doesn't matter how good their thumbnail is or how much they know, you're gone. You don't need to be larger than life or share your deepest secrets, but be genuinely, authentically, unapologetically yourself. Because here's what I've learned. The creators that we admire didn't earn our loyalty through clever tactics. They may have caught our attention that way, but they kept it through something deeper, through letting us see who they really are. Connection is the true essence of creating and sustaining a YouTube or content business that thrives and fulfills. And it's the reason I've been in this game for 7 years and the cornerstone of what we speak about with my paid clients. It's why a creator like Emma Chamberlain can post completely anti-algorithm thumbnails and titles, but still generate millions of views, millions of dollars, and an army of fans. Connection is the peak of the pyramid. But in order to maintain everything, in order to really thrive in this space, in this world, we need one more C. And no, it isn't consistency. We already covered that. The final C then is cultivation, the circle that holds everything together. Now, this doesn't sit on top of the pyramid. It surrounds the whole thing. It holds it together. It makes it possible. Cultivation is what you do when the camera is off, when no one's watching, when it's just you and the work of becoming. But like everything else that I talked about, cultivation has 2 faces. So first up is cultivating the work. So there's the business side. Building email lists, creating communities and memberships, learning to turn attention into sustainable income. This is where you step into your value. You stop apologizing for wanting to be paid for work that changes people's lives. That might sound mercenary in some ways, but only if you think money is dirty. When the exchange is real, when you're genuinely helping people and enriching their lives and they're genuinely grateful to pay you for it, it becomes something beautiful. It's a handshake between souls. Handshake to myself. But here's the second part of this and the second side of the coin. Cultivating yourself. All of this, the curiosity, the confidence, the competence, the congruence, the connection, not the consistency, we need that, that's default. Only works if you have a practice of cultivation. When you're doing the inner work to find that resonance within so you can project that resonance out into the digital world. Content creation is brutal. It's isolating and demanding, and the platforms seem designed to make you feel inadequate, like you're not doing enough, like you're not enough. But here's the paradox. The only way to truly connect with others is to know deeply that you are enough, that your value isn't conditional on views or likes or subscribers. It's what you bring to the world, that what you bring to the world is inherent and infinite. Now, I'm not going to pretend that people haven't brute forced their way to success on YouTube without doing inner work, but I can almost guarantee that everybody who has done that is really, really struggling off the camera. And many of them will speak about it on camera. It's very common. And in truth, I don't know many creators that I've ever spoken to, hundreds of them, that aren't dealing with burnout, with overwhelm, with audience capture, with something called identity entanglement, where their entire identity and their sense of self-worth is tied, is completely entangled with their metrics, with their numbers, with their views. So this is where creators who really want to be able to do this for a long time need some sort of daily practice. But I'm going to share some actual practical things you can do as a creator every single day to make the whole process far more palatable. So first up, 10 minutes of gratitude every morning. You probably heard about it before. Have you actually done it? Now, not to post about it on Instagram, but to feel it. To let appreciation fill your body like warm light. You can list what you're grateful for if you want, but feeling it, actually feeling in your heart, that is where the true resonance happens. Now, this could be gratitude for the audience and the opportunity that you have doing this. It could be for your family or friends, or just something you appreciate about the world that day, the smell of summer rain, or even a video game that you're really into. Next up, meditation. Even just 10 minutes a day. If you don't know how, or you've never done it before, there are beautiful teachers online just waiting to guide you. Find one that feels right and start from there. Now, as I said, there are many things that you can add into a daily or weekly practice, which are really, really valuable, and none of them to do with YouTube tactics. Obviously, exercise, sleep, diet, these are all crucial things overall for human happiness. But I also know how busy and strung out a lot of creators are. So I want to keep this something that's relatively short and doable every single day. So there's one more that I'm going to recommend. And this one is a bit weird. And it is something that might make you feel a bit uncomfortable, but it changed everything for me. And I can fucking guarantee that you won't see this one in a how to go viral on YouTube hack video. Guaranteed. Right. Place your hand on your heart and tell yourself, I love you. Yourself. Out loud. 10 times. Notice how it lands. If it feels awkward or false, that's just resistance. Keep going. This is one of the things I will say push through. Because here's what took me years to understand. Every person walking this earth has infinite inherent value. You don't need to achieve more or to do more or be more productive. These are the myths of our society, and I love so much about our society, but this I get very wrong. You're already valuable beyond measure. And that essence, that you-ness, that is actually what people are looking for. That is what they connect with. That's what changes everything. Do the practice. It takes about a minute. And notice how you feel. It's pretty special. If you don't know who to say it to your inner child, the one that maybe felt like they weren't enough, or that they had to do everything, or they had to hold everything together when they were 7 years old. Tell them you love them. I went 40 years without ever doing that once. Try it. Right, so the circle, complete. These 6 elements aren't separate things. They're facets of one truth. Human beings are meant to connect, and content creation is just the latest way we've found to do it, and it is a way that has an impossible scale and an incredible opportunity built into the design. So let's go back through them. That curiosity, that base of the pyramid, brings people to the dance. Confidence, competence, and congruence confirm you belong, and so do they. And connection is why they stay, why they come back, why they tell their friends. But you need cultivation. That is what allows you to do this for years on end, to grow externally on platform and in your bank balance, and internally in your spirit and your soul. The creators that last, who build real audiences, who create actual change in the world, they embody this, even if they don't implicitly understand it. Beneath all the tactics and strategies and growth hacks, it's always been about one thing, one human reaching out to touch the heart of another. That is the real magic. That is what changes everything, and it is available to you right now. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and please do subscribe for more videos like this. And if you're a YouTuber or creator ready to go deeper into this work, I work with established creators who've already built something meaningful, but sense there's a deeper level available to them in terms of fulfillment, in terms of connection, and in terms of wealth. I'm taking on new clients in July. So if that's you, please hit the link in the description, check out the materials there, and if it resonates, book in a call to chat about how it works. Thank you for watching. See you again soon.